Welcome back to Coffee with Composers, and this time we're going to try something a little different. I've been doing a lot of interviews for the podcast, mainly me interviewing other composers. I had a couple solo episodes when we started, but honestly, when I started YouTube, everything kind of got confused. And today let's talk about kind of just be a little more low key. Let's talk in like you were grabbing coffee with me is kind of the idea of today's episode. Okay, so as you can tell, the nervousness in front of a camera has been something I've been working on for a while. And I want to talk today about social media, content strategy, um, just being an artist, and kind of just riff like we were getting coffee. So, yeah, let's talk about what's going on with this podcast. Let's go back a little further than the podcast, though, and talk about the blog, actually. So I started scoringtech.net back in 2020, and if you were friends with me at the point, you would have seen me try to start YouTube 2 or 3 times too at that around then. Um, the blog was my way of being camera shy and avoiding everything, but it's evolved into a lot more than just a blog, and I am keeping that going. Now, what happened was I started this podcast, which was awesome, and it was just this and the blog. And then I got into YouTube. And then the stuff I wanted to do solo episodes on for the podcast got confused. And it was like, how do I organize the podcast versus the YouTube channel? And when do I make a podcast video versus a YouTube video? And why would I do that when one could be blah, blah, blah? So the podcast became something I just did interviewing other composers, which was great. And I have interviews that I'm working on, and I love interviewing composers. So if you're a composer, or you know someone who's a composer, or an orchestrator, or a music editor, or someone who just does music and wants to chat, hit me up because I would love to interview you. But trying to figure out the way podcast, YouTube, blog, Instagram, and everything kind of work together without being repetitive is something that I was kind of struggling with. So I figured let's go back to what this podcast was supposed to be originally. A coffee house style chat with a composer. Hi, it's me, I'm the composer. And today's episode and some episodes going forward are just going to be like a cup of joe. Like, we're going to just chat, and I'm going to talk about whatever I'm feeling like. Some of these ideas may become scripted episodes later. They may just be a little rabbit hole that I go down now in this episode and never touch on again. But it's kind of a raw, unscripted, unfiltered for the most part episode about my thoughts on artistry, creativity, music, the film scoring industry. And yeah, so first off, I want to just say it's been a lot of fun figuring out all this stuff and trying to navigate the social media thing. I was telling my friends recently, like, the cool thing that's happening with making content, it started, okay, I'm making content, I have to make content to make content. And I would get frustrated because I'd be like, why should I waste my time making content when I could make music, or I could be doing this, I could be making a sales call. It's turning into now making content is an excuse for me to make music. Or making content is an excuse for me to do something I want to do but haven't found an excuse to do yet. Like passion projects, fun experiments, and so much more. Just like in that vein of, oh, I'm an artist. How can I be working more for me? And what's really nice is the YouTube thing, the Instagram thing, hell, this podcast has just been actively forcing me to do things that I want to do, and I always just say, oh, I don't have the time for. So if you need a reason to get on any sort of social creation platform, social content, use that. It's just a good way to do art, to fall in love with your art again, be an artist, and document the journey versus making something that you just need to make because you need to make it. Like paid commissions. Commission work is great, it pays, and I will not ever shit talk that. But I think being an artist, you need to make art for yourself sometimes. And this is a great way to kind of be like, oh, that'd be a fun idea. Let me make a video for it, because if nothing else, like, it could be a little bit. um, but yeah, I think a lot of artists a lot of artists struggle with social media because they don't understand it and they don't have a strategy and they're trying to do something with it that is not what social media is for, or their strategy for social media doesn't align with what their actual goals are. And I think that's part of the reason a lot of artists get so frustrated, and there's this idea that, oh, I want to be a musician and not a content creator. Music is content. I don't know what else to say. Music itself is content. You're a content creator regardless. You're just a specific content creator. You make audio content. You make music. You make songs. You compose tracks. You're a producer. Okay, cool. But the power of content is its reach. You are no longer limited to being a bedroom composer who sends tracks to their friends. You can get millions of people to find you through content. You can reach anybody in the world and get them interested in your music, get them interested in who you are as a person. You can sell them things. You can make friends. I've made so many friends on my Discord server. I have made so many friends just meeting people on Instagram. I have friends that I haven't met in person yet that I've talked to at least weekly the past 5 years. And it's all from social media. I think that people expect to go viral way too soon on social media. And then the flip side of that, people expect virality to cure their career. Now, what I'm trying to say is, yes, it's always good to get engagement on your posts. But the right kind of engagement is far stronger than just engagement in general. I'd rather have 1,000 filmmakers or 1,000 directors comment, "Oh my God, this was cool," than a million people just be like, "Damn, nice." I had a couple reels go viral last summer. I stopped making them because it's just a vanity thing. I realized like I could make a reel go viral right now in the music niche, but a lot of times it was just high schoolers and middle schoolers liking my stuff, and I'm like, it's cool, no shade, but you're only liking those specific reels, and those reels are still getting like 100, 200 likes a day, which great. But yeah, it's not helping me and my goals. So what I want to try to focus in on as a content creator is making content that specifically targets the people that I want to work with and that I want to talk to and that I want engaging with my stuff, rather than having an unlimited flow of likes that mean nothing. Because if people are just engaging with you because, oh, that was a really cool video you made about hiking in the Adirondacks, or you're just very pretty, or sorry, my dog surprised me. So on that note, what I'm trying to say is content means nothing if there's no strategy behind it. You can go viral for a million different things, but how does it help your music career? How does it help you as an artist? Why are you making content? Is a question you should figure out to begin with. Different reasons for making content have different strategies, different types of content to make. If you're trying to be a content creator, what does that mean to you? Well, a musician, like a singer-songwriter, is going to have a very different strategy than a composer. A music producer is going to have a very different strategy than an orchestrator. And it's not just about the type of content you make, it's about who you reach out to, why you reach out to them, what you're saying to them, who you're trying to attract. 1,000 followers can be far more powerful than 20,000. Now, at the same time, 20,000 is a great metric. 50,000 is a great number. When you have these higher numbers, it lends credibility, but when you make viral posts that aren't in your niche, it gets you followers and doesn't get you engagement. So the followers look cool, but they mean nothing. And I think a lot of people just don't understand too much about what they're doing when they're making content. Something that I've been doing that's actually really hard, it's kind of proving to me how hard content creation really is. I have a playlist on Spotify that I try to add one track a day. I don't need to write the song. I just need to pick the song. It needs to be something I listened to that day, or something that was stuck in my head that day, something that inspired me or really just captured what that day was about. Um, it's hard to stay on top of that. I'm not even writing anything. I'm not using any creative energy. I'm not thinking about it. I literally just have to pick a song and put it in a playlist. And to do that daily is a challenge. So if you're struggling and wondering if you can really handle making a reel a day, try this first because it will really push you to be like, okay, wait, burnout is real. I definitely can't do a full reel every day, but doing shorter sprints, like maybe every day for a month, that could be great. Or every day or once a week for 2 months, a year, fine. But you don't want to put too much pressure on yourself to be this high output individual because if you're just constantly putting out content, then you're ignoring your art, which is the problem. The other end of this, people aren't putting out enough content. I know I just went on that whole rant. People don't put out enough content. And what I'm trying to say here is a lot of people are afraid to actually make hard posts on Instagram. They post on their story, but not to their followers, not to their like actual feed. Story posts are great. It goes to your followers, but they're timed. After a day, they go away. They also don't get shown to new people. Whereas on your feed, people can discover them years later. And that's kind of what one of the big reasons I got deeper and deeper into YouTube. And man, I have a whole rant on how amazing I think YouTube is. Just the modern Library of Alexandria. It's just incredible. It's one of the greatest human achievements, I think. But anyway, back to the YouTube. Why I think YouTube is awesome is because it's indexed. It's searchable. Stuff from years ago still goes through the algorithm. People will find. I got recommended a video that was like 13 years old. It happens. Instagram, it doesn't happen as much. TikTok, it seems to happen a little more. But that's something you need to be aware of when you're making content. How can you maximize its potential? Because if a content dies after 2 days, you wasted 2 days. But if it's compounding over time and helping build up a catalog, then it's powerful. And that's kind of why I've been shifting a lot more towards YouTube and everything in general. I'm not even deep in YouTube yet. I have like 160 subscribers, but I see the power and I see the potential and I know what it is capable of and I know what we can build on there. And I'm very excited. So if you're listening to this, by the way, give me a follow on YouTube, please. Check it out. I have a lot of videos on composer advice. I'm doing a lot of experiments. I have a lot of really cool things in the pipeline. I'm kind of building my career now into a bit of, I'd say almost a hybrid YouTuber composer. Funny enough, the other night, a couple friends of mine, Kenai, great singer-songwriter, and Alexia Lemonia, I wish I could say her last name, got together and did a little artist PowerPoint night. We put together a little like 15, 20-minute slide presentation each about our little plan, our business plan, our strategy for the next few years of our careers. Kenai being a singer-songwriter, we were a little similar, but not too much, and Alexia is a graphic novelist. But it was so cool to sit down with your artist friends and see what their goals are, how they want to get there, what their plan is for getting there, their strategies they're going to evolve, etc. Now, one, I highly recommend that if you have artist friends you can sit down with. They don't even need to be musicians, like Alexia was an illustrator, but it's good to build a support group. If you guys want to chat, I do have a Discord channel, and it's a good little support group in there, I think. But the thing I wanted to bring up was I did my plan, and I realized my plan is not just being a composer for film. I've always thought I was more of a composer that does film than just a film composer. But I kind of found out, like, I have this whole scope of how I want to build this thing that we're building right now. There's the music career side. There's Joe Chris Music. I write music, period. And that can be film, video game, concert works, food operas, blah, 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 sonic tastings, data sonification. It's the flagship brand. It's who I am as an artist. I like putting my hands like on camera right now. That is me. Then I have the scoring tech stuff, which is basically composer education space. And that's me writing stuff for composers and building out resources and plugins and sample packs for composers. and me being a authority figure on composers and music composition and knowledge. So Joe Chris, the artist, Joe Chris, the music educator. Then we have Electric Raindrop, which is my third prong, third pillar, third point. Electric Raindrop is my sonic branding firm. It is a sonic branding agency. It is an unexplored world, really. There's not that many resources on sonic branding. There's a lot of people, or a good handful of people, who are like the experts. There's like 9 books total, but there's really nothing on sonic branding on YouTube. There's no books outside of like the main 10. There's like 5 podcasts, and all the hosts know each other. They're all friends. They all work together across different, or not friends, but colleagues, and they work in, the same kind of campaigns. And the more I look into it, the more I think this is one of those deep blue ocean niches. And I'm going to come back to that idea because I think that's a fantastic thought to get into. So I think it's a blue ocean niche that we can kind of explore and go deep into on YouTube and build a career off of. It's also something I really enjoy because it takes the stuff I do with my name on it and removes my name on it, but allows me to work on things I wouldn't work on normally. Like I did an anti-smoking commercial. I did an election integrity ad. I did a beer thing, which I would normally work on for free because I freaking love beer. But anyway, let's go back to the fourth prong. The fourth prong is my guitar work. Now, you may have noticed I do a lot of fun experimental guitar stuff. I play the violin bow guitar. I do wine corks in my thing. I do alligator clips, prepare guitar. I restring my guitar in weird ways. I realized that I miss teaching. And I started teaching again at a local school because it's just something I do. It's something I enjoy. I think music is not just about self-expression, but helping others express themselves. Um, this is going to be a weird tangent here. There's a philosopher like Simone de Beauvoir, I think it was Sartre's wife or something. Anyway, um, her or their idea was freedom is not just something you put out; it's something you have to help other people use their freedom for. That's a really bad way to put it, but essentially, I think of music the same way. Like doing music and not teaching music is kind of a selfish act. Not in the sense of like, oh my God, you're an absolute selfish prick, blah, blah, blah. But I think that music has always been this thing that's been passed down from master to apprentice, from teacher to student. And to consume and consume and consume and to not give back is just something that's weird. And you're kind of like pulling the floor up behind you. We build upon each other, we grow with each other. We create with each other. This whole world we share with each other. So I want to do more guitar teaching and I want to teach about the experimental guitar stuff that I do. So I have a separate channel I'm working on called Experimental Guitar Lab, which is all going to be the guitar niche to not bother the main stuff. I'm going to have another podcast on there too, just more about talking to real working musicians, their practice routine, what it's like on tour. And so that's the guitar niche. So we have brand of Joe Chris Music, who is me, the flagship. That's my fun artsy stuff. Composer education, sonic branding, guitar. And then my last one. This is something that I've been just trying to find an excuse to do. It's a bit of a passion project, but I've always wanted to build it into a bit of a nonprofit eventually. So I'm starting another YouTube channel. Again, I'm going all in on YouTube as a content creator, but for my music career. This is something that hasn't really been done the way I'm doing, and man, it's overwhelming. But I think what I'm doing is going to work if I pull it off. I think this is going to be pulled off if I pull it off. But anyway, I am doing the fifth pillar of my business is what I'm calling Let's Love Movies. It is a bit of a film evangelization channel. Basically, what Neil deGrasse Tyson does for science before he became a little annoying and the well actually guy. It's what I want to do for film. I want to look at famous movies. I want to talk about film movements, directors, different different categories of people on set, and just talk about what's to love about it. I think this is a wonderful way to just one not annoy my friends because every time I watch a movie, I'm like, let me tell you about this movie. And two, I think it's a cool way for me to explore art on a deeper level, not just consuming, but thinking critically. Um, three, I think it's a good idea for me to open my funnel up to filmmakers and not just be music and composer focused because target audience, content strategy, separate niche, separate channel, but funnel back to me because business. Hello, I'm a yes. Anyway, so what I want to do with this channel is do what I think film has been missing for a while. You go to the movies, you see trailers for upcoming movies. People don't romanticize the theater going experience anymore. People kind of shit on movie theaters, if I'm being honest. It's too expensive. It's a pain. People are on their phone. Why would I do this if I could watch it at home? And I want to kind of introduce people to film who normally wouldn't be into film. If you're into film already, I want to help you find a new favorite film. I want to use this as a means to just bring more people into the film community and just share what I love about movies and storytelling with a wider audience. And that's something I've been thinking about too a lot lately is I think a lot of my career can be defined in the term of love. I think that I may not be the best composer. I'm definitely not the best composer. I want to get better and I'm working actively on it every day. But I think if I had to describe one way to wrap up everything I do, it's just relentlessly loving the art form. Um, and that's something I've talked about too, struggling to love my art and what I do and all of this. But what I think it comes down to is it's not just doing it and it's not just being consistent, but it's coming at it every day and working on it and getting to a point where there's this idea that effortless joy. I want to say it was Cam Newton wrote about this in So Good They Can't Ignore You, and it's something like you look at like Shohei Ohtani or Alyssa Liu, like when they're performing at their peak, they are just happy. They're not frustrated. It's flowing out of them, and I think musicians can be the same way. And I think that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. One, I'm trying to get so good at my instrument, it's just endless amounts of joy for me to write music. And it's not like that sometimes. It's like pulling teeth sometimes. And the other thing that I'm trying to do in terms of love is to share it with others because there is an unbound amount of love that can be done, can be shared. And it's not just about music and art, just in general. I think people limit what they love too much. They gatekeep it, they keep it to themselves, or they only share it with their partner, or they only give love to their partner. And I don't know if that's, we're getting philosophical here. There's some ideas that love where it's conditional, like, oh, if you're just my partner, you get my love. That's not really love. I think Eric Fromm wrote about that in The Art of Loving. One thing he kind of wrote about that I kind of take to heart is his idea was you want love to be so ingrained in you that you can't help but to love. Funny enough, comparing it to an artist, you hear a sound and you instantly, like, you're out in the wild, you hear a sound like a car door slam and suddenly you hear a drum beat. Like, you just don't think about being a composer, you just hear music all around you, and that's the approach to love and that's the approach to art that I kind of see myself in. I love music and I love film especially so deeply that I want to share it with the world, and I want to get people excited about it. And it's not going to be a stream of toxic positivity, but it is more of like, let's be optimistic about this. It's kind of a crazy time right now. Why do we have to focus on the bad? Let's focus on the good. Um, Theater attendance is up for the highest since pre-COVID. Gen Z is killing it with movie theater attendance. Um, New movie studios are opening in Jersey. Like we have Lionsgate, 1812, Netflix. Brands are starting to open up their own content studios, like the Kansas City Chiefs, Dick's Sporting Goods, a couple others. Now, it is scary for a lot of people in Hollywood because it's becoming decentralized, but I don't know if that's a bad thing. A lot of Hollywood, a lot of productions were in Hollywood, and yes, it's good that they're here, and that's not something I want to see die. But productions are all over America now, all over the world. Getting into politics, it's a bit of a shame that productions can go overseas or to other countries because it's so hard to film in California or in other states. The tax credits aren't as good, blah, blah, and that's something that I think needs to be addressed. But the fact is, you can make a movie anywhere. You can make a movie on an iPhone. People have made movies on iPhones. They have made incredible movies on iPhones. This podcast right now is being shot on an iPhone. So that's a scary change. I don't think it's a bad change, but there's a lot of really exciting stuff happening. And that's kind of the way my career is being laid out. So if we look at it, it is Joe Chris Music, who I am as a composer, just me loving music, me putting out stuff that I love and want to work on. We have composer education, me giving back, me working with my art to help other people bring other people into this art. We have sonic branding, which is applying my art to the world around me, not just as an artist, but as something to make the world a better place, to make it more accessible for people using sound and to share all this information with things. Yes, sound is very manipulative in business, and it does the irony of this being a capitalist society using music to get people to buy their products is not lost, but what I'm trying to say is you can use music and sound to just share so much information and make people feel safer and blah, blah. And that's kind of my goal, is to use Electric Raindrop to do more sound to make the world a better place and not just sound to line my paychecks. And then I have my performance side, which is Experimental Guitar Lab. And again, it's just me working my craft and working with other people. And then we have Let's Love Movies, which is me just trying to get people to love the art form. So I want to go back and talk a bit about blue ocean niches, because that's something I touched on that I think is interesting. I am very ADHD, and I'm very much a rabbit hole kind of guy. So I do a lot of odd, obscure things and try to take them as far as I can go. Example, Experimental Guitar Lab. Example, sonic branding. If you guys can find something as an artist to latch onto that is just you and something that interests you, even if there's not a market for it, it's a fun time. My one of my big projects is the whole food and music stuff. I got the sonic branding, sonic tasting work, eventually the food opera stuff. I'm actually working on a book about that. Yeah, so I did a lot when I was doing the Sonic tasting events. I was making a lot of cool connections at breweries, meeting the brewmaster, meeting the owners, putting on these really cool events that a lot of people came out just for the novelty of it. I've gotten interviewed by a couple ad agencies about my expertise on this subject because no one's really doing it. And I'm working on a book about it, which I think is awesome because there's really nothing about this at all available. Yeah. So it's a whole blue ocean niche. You kind of see it right now with Angine de Pontaine. I think I said their name right off the top of my head. doing the microtonal thing. Like people are discovering them and getting into microtonal music for the first time. It's a huge unexplored area. There's music itself has no like right or wrong way to do most things. But when you go into an area where there's just nobody in your niche operating, you have so much freedom and you can try things, you can blaze your own path, you can do so many awesome things. And I think that there's a lot of potential for pretty much anyone who's listening to this to find their own little niche to work in. Um, but that's really it for today. Just, keep at it, keep practicing, love your art, find your niche, find something that interests you, I guess is the last thing. When you find something that interests you, you can take it really far. If you're not interested, why go the extra mile with it? Um, then I guess find your niche, Blue Ocean Niches. But if you guys like this, please check out the YouTube channel. I'm going to probably go into a few of these ideas more in depth over there, as well as the Discord, which is a good community. Right now we're at 520 something members, all just discussing music, giving each other feedback, and we do weekly composition challenges, as well as hold ourselves accountable to our goals. It's free. Um, that's all, guys. Hope this was a good episode. Hope you enjoyed your cup of Joe. Um, yeah, we'll see you next week, hopefully, maybe the week after. And we're going to start doing more interviews and more of these kinds of chats. So, later.